Hello everybody in Planted Places, Planted members. It is Friday morning and it's time for time in the test gardens again with Christy. Hello everybody. And I wanted to, I'm going to try and keep it a little shorter because last week we were sort of long, but we do have some important things to tell you and some exciting things to tell you. First off, I was able to set up outside. We've been inside the last couple times and it's a beautiful day out, beautiful day. And I wanted to be out there, and also too, the walls are looking so beautiful. Can you see that? So that is just something where spring is in the air. I'm so excited for all our members because you guys, especially Planted Box, when you guys started right when kind of winter was starting, some of you have been seeing fast growth, but a lot of you guys have been seeing slow growth because that's totally normal for winter, but we are about to change into the peak season of growing. It's weeks away, so it's super exciting, and already it's starting to show. Look at the violas are blooming. I have been harvesting this romaine like crazy, but there's just such yummy things going on here. So let's get started first with what can you guys are expecting. We're doing shipping next week for March. We're going to be shipping out the seedlings for the Planted Box, and if you've got a wall, you obviously can be replenishing. And some of you, I know, just replenished last month, but a lot of you probably have a lot that you need to be replenishing. So very excited. We got a lot of great things. We're introducing Tatsoi this month, and Tatsoi is they call it the new spinach, and it is delicious. It's sort of in the same family as bok choy, but I do not think it tastes like bok choy. It is almost kind of buttery. It's got an amazing aroma. It really adds flavor to a salad. It's so good. It's super healthy and nutrient dense. Vitamin A, vitamin C, beta carotene, calcium, folate, and it also has phytoproteins in there. So that's, which is great for antioxidant for fighting cancer. And that is one reason why they call it the new spinach. So anyways, we're going to be introducing that. If you're a Planted Box customer, you are going to be getting 5 seedlings this month. You're going to be getting Cherokee lettuce, which is a great, beautiful, vibrant red lettuce, kind of butterhead lettuce. You're going to be getting arugula again because arugula is amazing, and I'm sure your arugula is bolting by now. We'll talk about that. We're going to get Swiss chard, and I believe you're going to get that for the first time. Let me show you. This is a beautiful, this is a multi-seeded, obviously, Swiss chard. You can do one seedling and have really big leaves, or you can do multiple seedlings. It's totally your choice. We'll give you multiple seedlings in the shipment, and you can decide how to do it. But look at this. This is just beautiful. Love Swiss chard. Swiss chard, you can put Swiss chard in stir fries and frittatas, smoothies. I put it in my salads. It does have sort of a stronger taste, so sometimes people don't necessarily want it in their salad, and that's why they tend to put it in stir fries and smoothies and things like that. But it's so vibrant in color. Again, that's the nutrients, guys, coming out. So when you have plants and they're just shining with color like that, that is absolute nutrients in those leaves. So very exciting. So sorry, Cherokee lettuce, arugula, Swiss chard, you're getting mustard greens, and you're getting tatsoi. So we're giving you some different things, which are tatsoi and mustard greens are really kind of more of a cool season. We're entering to the end of our cool season, so I wanted to make sure to get those into your box so you can try those. The mustard green we're sending you has a little bit of a red hue to it. This is what it looks. It's just so beautiful, especially if you have a wall. Oh my God, look how beautiful it is. But this is a green mustard. But mustard it's sort of like a spicier arugula. And one thing to keep in mind is when you have mustard, and especially for planted wall people, if you guys have had mustard going for a while, you'll know when you need to take it out, because it will have a very spicy, bitter taste, much more so than normal, and that's when you know it's time to take that out. But important thing that I want to talk about is we're going to talk about replenishing your pots this month, because this is the first month for Planted Box that you guys are actually going to be replacing some pots. So we're going to send you 5 seedlings, but you're only getting 2 grow pots. And what we're doing is we are getting you to 17 pots, and that's where we're going to keep you at. We find with our customers, especially the planted wall customers, one side takes 17 pots, and that's a good number of containers to be growing food in, where you can be consistently grazing, harvesting off of that wall, and have enough to be making a couple salads a week, to be doing your smoothies daily, adding it to your salads. Adding it to your salads, adding it to sandwiches, adding it to scrambled eggs, frittatas, so smoothies, so soups, all the things we tell you about. But that's a good number, and so that's why we get you to 17. And then if you want to move into the wall, you can do that very easily, as we've talked about, or if you want to just keep them in containers around in your patio or your deck on different stands and such, you can do that. It's completely your preference, obviously, what you're most comfortable with. But that is just so you know, you got 2 more pots coming this next month, and then we're going to be replacing seedlings that have been growing in containers. And if you're a planted wall customer, we do have a lot of new planted wall customers, and one thing to know is that you need to make sure that you're replenishing when you need to. And so I want to talk about that. So for planted box, what we're going to be most likely replenishing, everybody has different growth patterns, but the arugula, the bok choy, and the Mizuna, those are the 3 plants that most likely need to be changed out in your pots. And here's how you'll know. So I've got some examples. So here is an arugula that has been in the wall. It's been in the wall for a while. And so you can see this stem. See how this is a little thicker? I mean, you can just by filling it, you can see it's much thicker than the regular leaves. And I have been cutting this back, but it's been bolting, which means it's going to seed. And when it goes to seed, that basically means that it's okay, I'm kind of at the end of my lifespan, and I'm going to start going to seed and flower. With your arugula, you can control that a little bit, and you can keep cutting it back. You just cut it back to the stem. You keep cutting that back, and it will continue to grow. You can do that with arugula, and you can also do that with Mizuna. And spinach also you can do that with. But it comes a time when really the taste starts deteriorating. So now when you can see, like, here you go, here's a perfect example. Do you see that? There's a little bit of a flower on that, on the end. See that bud? So this is, it's just what's happening here is it's just constantly now trying to bolt on me. So I know time to take it out. Also, the taste, the leaf structure's pretty thick. It kind of happens as they get older, and the taste is like, it's too spicy at this point. It's too much, too bitter is really I shouldn't even say spicy, it's just too bitter. So this needs to come out. Here's an example of a Mizuna. Same thing. It's also, you can see the thicker stalk there. Sorry, it's too low. The thicker stalk, you can see where I've been cutting it. So it's also been trying to flower a lot, and I have been cutting it back and maintaining it. But now at this point, I think I'm just going to go ahead and harvest all of it because the taste is also starting to get too bitter. Mustard, I want to show you because I just noticed this last night. I actually, when I was doing the dressing, our dressings challenge, I was showing people how I was going to add some mustard leaves into a dressing. And when I pulled this off the wall, do you see this stalk here? Do you see how it's grown up? And do you see right in here, there is a little bit of a bud kind of forming in there. And you can see by the growth. See how the growth, usually your leaves are coming out the stalk on the bottom, but this one is growing up. See, and then it's splitting out. So this is actually starting to go to flower. And I noticed when I tasted this mustard, it was very, very, it was really spicy. It was so strong that my eyes started watering, almost like you're peeling an onion or something. It was like, whoa, it's too strong. So that needs to come out. So next week when we get our seedlings, I'm going to be doing a lot of replacement of seedlings. Let me see here. Here's another example of an arugula that has just been, it's spent. I've just been harvesting it. It's been trying to bolt for a while, and it's time for it to come out. So again, you're going to be replacing your Mizuna, your arugula, and your bok choy. Certain plants, when they start to go to seed, you can cut back and preserve that harvest a little longer. And that is arugula, that is Mizuna, spinach is like that. But over time, the taste will deteriorate, and you will know it's time to replace it. There also are plants that once it starts going to seed, you really need to, it's time for it to come out. And that is the case with the kales, bok choys for sure. Once bok choys start, really again, it's that middle stem is growing up like it's a stalk, like a flower stalk. Once that starts happening, you need to take that bok choy out. It's actually, at this point, it's called bolting, and the taste will deteriorate, and it's ready to come out. So that's that. Another reason why would be for, let's say you've got a plant and it's just really diseased, aphids, whichever, and you cannot get rid of it, needs to come out. Another reason could be maybe a plant just never took. If you guys remember this from a few weeks ago, this is the one that had transplant shock. See, it's such a dark color, you can't see it against the soil. But it's there, it's got new growth. The other 3 have completely rebounded and they're growing now. But this one's still kind of taking its time. So actually, I'm gonna go ahead and just replace this with a new seedling, because why take up an entire pot? We have all this great soil, why do that? You should just go ahead and replace it. Herbs are another thing, where with herbs, those can last for years, herbs can. But in such a small kind of, these are half-gallon pots, an herb, after about 4 or 5 months, it probably needs to be transplanted into a larger pot. The root structure needs more room at that point. So if you want to keep those herbs, you can do it. I would not recommend transplanting a leafy lettuce, or a lettuce, or a kale, or Swiss chard. Those really, once they're done, you just need to completely get rid of those. So, and what we mean by get rid of those is we're going to go ahead, and next week I'm actually going to demonstrate this, because I want to have brand new seedlings with me, and I want to show you exactly how we're going to replenish the soil. I'll talk about it a teeny bit right now, but really next week is when I'm going to demonstrate it. But we're going to be going ahead, and when we replenish, we're going to take off that entire stalk, okay? And we're going to use that in lovely recipes that we are giving you, okay? And I'll talk about that. And then what we're going to do is we are going to replenish that soil. And next week, you are going to be getting, for the first time, worm castings. And we have a wonderful write-up that Mallory, our wonderful expert in the test gardens, does all our research for us and does a lot of the test gardens. She's written up a wonderful document about worm castings and all the benefits of that. Most important thing I'll tell you right now, and then next week I'll go into more detail, is that this is probably like the perfect soil nutrient that you can use for your plants. I am going to move to a new location because I'm outside, and as you know, they love to, my neighbor gardeners love to come out right about this time. I was hoping I would beat them, but I have not beat them. So I will move over here a little bit. So I'm gonna move over I will go inside. Sorry guys. I just wanted to spend a second to talk to you about worm castings and the importance of that. So with worm castings, they actually have over 60 trace elements in soil, which is basically 60 trace elements, nutrients, minerals, all of the things that your plants need for perfect health. And worm castings are kind of like the perfect, God, how do I say, perfect element, kind of organic element that you can give to soil. It gives you, it really feeds the soil, it feeds the roots without burning them, without exhausting them. The roots take it up as they need it. It's a very natural way to feed the soil and to regenerate the soil. There's also many, many microorganisms that are in worm castings. Basically, worm castings are kind of the poop of a worm. And so think of it like the microbiome of your gut. This is what you're putting into the soil. And so just like you have beneficial bacteria that protect your gut and protect your body, immunity, it's doing the exact same things for the roots of the plants. And so worm castings, you could not have a more perfect additive to a soil, an organic additive. And that is what we're giving you guys next week, which is really exciting. So it's kind of like what composting does, we're doing that by giving you the worm castings. So you're adding that to your soil. So we're going to be doing that next week. You're going to be reconditioning your soil. You're going to be replenishing your soil. We're going to walk through that. I'm going to demonstrate exactly how that's done so everybody can, and this is really pivotal to what we're doing with Planted Places, is we're really teaching you about the soil and how you're regenerating the soil as you harvest that plant and you take out that plant and you add a new seedling into that soil. And we'll talk about crop rotation and things like that. But what is, again, awesome about all of this is we're doing the dirty work for you. We're doing the testing. We're identifying what exactly you need to do. So all you need to do is kind of open your box, follow instructions, and go. So that's a good thing. The last thing I want to talk about before I close here is talk a little bit about pest management, because as spring starts to come in, we need to start worrying about, with the warmth and the sun comes the pests. And so again, if we got healthy soil, which means we have healthy plants, they are on the defense much more against pests that can be out there, because they're always out there, right? But the healthier your plant is, the better it's protected. And how we have healthy plants is because we have healthy soil. It's well-hydrated soil. 50% of soil is air and water. So we want to make sure that we're hydrating that soil. We're not letting it go bone dry, and we're not keeping it oversaturated, over wet, right? You want to just keep it well hydrated. And with the really healthy soil and worm castings and mycorrhizal fungi and fertilizer mixes that we give you, your soil is very healthy and alive, which is a wonderful thing. But there are, like I said, there are those pests out there. So the three ones that we last week I talked about slugs and I talked about aphids. And leaf miners is another one that you want to start watching out for. We are going to have a write-up on leaf miner for you so that you know about that. Next week I'll go into more detail about that. But you might start seeing some of that, and basically they're on the underside of the leaves and they look like little tiny white specks. They're like little tiny eggs. They're really not doing any harm. You just need to scrape those off. You want to get rid of those, and if you try to scrape it off and it won't come off, basically what that means is it's kind of burrowed itself in between the leaf layer of the actual leaf. It kind of burrows in between the layers of the leaf, and you'll see tracks in the leaf, and that's how you know you have leaf miner. And the best way to get rid of that is you actually just take out the part of the leaf where the leaf miner is, or you just pull that leaf that leaf out, and that's really the best way to eradicate it. And so that really, if you are on top of your plants and you're just kind of, going out there, like we always talk about with your coffee, your tea, and you're checking your plants, you're going to be able to get on top of this before it takes over. Okay? All right, guys. So next week, please tune in, because I'm going to do some demonstrations on how to replenish. I'm going to go in much more detail about worm castings. And you'll have everything with you at that point, because we're shipping things out next week. And so I want to talk about it when you actually have it with you. And it's also the month, Get Your Greens Challenge this month is dressings. So make sure to look at the video I did last night. I talked about just the basics of a dressing, what it does for you. And then I talked about different herbs and leafy greens to just add into your dressing. Just add that nutrients in there. So last night what I did is I added lemon balm and parsley with vinegar and oil, salt, pepper, and I added a little bit of shallots and garlic. I added garlic too, and it was delicious. And the nice thing is lemon balm, really, really healthy green. It's got, and obviously parsley is as well, but the lemon balm's got phytonutrients in there as well. And so I wanted to get that into my dressing. So that's what's amazing, is you're putting nutrients into everyday things that you're making anyways. It doesn't have to just be an oil and vinegar. You can add your greens into there. Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. Sorry for going too long today. Didn't want to do that to you. And thanks for putting up with the mower in the back in the neighbor's yard. But I will see you guys next week, and make sure to send questions and send ideas for things you want to get trained on, because we're going to be launching our spring training at the end of the month, right around the beginning of spring. So please send an email, inquiries@plantedplaces.com, or just post in Facebook what specifically you guys want to learn more about. Okay? Bye-bye.